Mazel tov, mazel tov, semen tov.
Yes, your husband. This is your husband speaking. And he's saying it's such a big mitzvah, right? You hear that? Meeting the Gruzin family has been a tremendous blessing to me, both professionally and personally. Together with his loving wife and his family, we were able to really collaborate and support Mr. Gruzin in a holistic, meaningful, compassionate way.
My parents are Holocaust survivors, and they met in Fehrenwald. Fehrenwald is a relocation camp outside of Munich. My father was born in Lithuania in 1928. The Germans gave him free transportation to Dachau by train. And the remarkable thing is that with the exception of one, all the Gruzin men survived from Kovna, Lithuania.
If you had to tell somebody about Daddy, how would you describe him?
He was a good person, and he liked people, and they liked him.
Chaya had the ability to soften the fact that her patients are dying. She made arrangements for my father's medical care, and in hearing that my father did not have a bar mitzvah because he was in a concentration camp, came up with the brilliant idea of allowing him to have a bar mitzvah as an adult.
Every time I was in the house, I asked him for a blessing. He's a Holocaust survivor, but surviving would be an understatement. Mr. Gruzin, he thrived. So for me to be able to come in and make this bar mitzvah celebration has been an incredible merit and just a small way of saying thank you to Mr. Gruzin and his family. They say Mazel tov. You see that?
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, because that was a big celebration.
We had an immediate connection with Chaya. She is truly remarkable. They talk about a woman of valor. She is a woman of valor. She came as the nurse coordinator for hospice care. My dad was already pretty much confined to his bedroom, and Chaya would come to visit him for regular routine checkups, but she would also come to see him as a person.
One day I was there just talking to Mr. Gruzin, and I pulled out my phone and showed him a picture of my son, who had just turned 13 and was just having his bar mitzvah. And in that moment, he shared with me, he said, I never had a bar mitzvah because I was in the camps. That night over dinner, I was telling my husband, oh my goodness, we had this incredible Jewish man, courageous, resilient, strong, and he never had a bar mitzvah. And my husband said, we need to make him a bar mitzvah. So I went to the family, of course. I went to our Bridging Life leadership, and everyone was on board, but we needed to make sure we did it in a personal way, and it wasn't about us. And ultimately, it was perfect. Before you knew it, we had a quorum of 10 men. The family's neighbors came, their children, grandchildren. A rabbi from a local synagogue joined us because Mr. Gruzin had just built this magnificent ark for his synagogue a few years earlier. And Mr. Gruzin passed away in July of that same year. So this was the last time we had a family gathering, and it was just a beautiful, celebratory moment.
To be celebrated is something special for the community. They decorated the room. Chaya bought an unctuous chocolate cake. They wrapped him in his own tallis, which he wore every Saturday, and he cried. It was really beautiful. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it was because of Chaya and Jewish hospice.
Caring for Holocaust survivors is just one small piece of the care that we offer for all of our Jewish families and their loved ones. Every Jewish person deserves to have a bar mitzvah. For thousands of years, Jewish people have built their lives around these meaningful traditions. And so how appropriate it was for Mr. Gruzin to be able to celebrate in this bar mitzvah celebration.